So the last time I tried to use Stable Diffusion, which is about I think 6 to 8 months ago, in order to generate images to construct an artificial training data set for the problem I was working on, I had issues running Stable Diffusion in my computer on my 3070. I just got it to work with a web UI using basically Git repository, something that's made available online, and there are all these models that you can load as well. So I'll be using the Open Journey model, which tries to recreate that mid-journey aesthetic. And so the interesting thing here is obviously the fact that you can, play around with loading different models and as well as the prompts. So what I'll be doing is really just passing in a series of prompts that are found online, right? And the interesting thing, obviously, is really the moment you have all this in the computer, you could actually just click on generate and you'll do everything for you. And you can batch these processes. So I think the really interesting thing about what AI is making us learn is really this whole idea that if any form of data or representation in the world can be vectorized, right? Can be represented in the computer, and we can perform all these operations on it. In that sense, intelligence, creativity, this can all be modeled as statistical processes using techniques that we've had for centuries. So there's really nothing new about there's way too many years there. So sometimes you need to kind of use some negative prompts. By the way, this is really just look at how much you can get done on a very average gaming PC with 3070, and how I could just leave this running when I'm away from the house, then basically pick whichever I want to use and use that to generate content, right? So I think AI is really kind of holding a mirror back to us and reflecting the fact that we are all on expectation very average. I mean, of course, you have the outliers in human society, famous artists, scientists, whatever. But there's also a sense in which they can be fitted into a model as well. If you, really want to go down that route. So if most of intelligence, in fact, if not all of intelligence can be statistically modeled, so is creativity, right? I'm basically starting to think that we should treat consciousness as a separate entity, as a different class of things altogether. And being human, necessarily basically means that we have different configurations of these three attributes, three high level attributes, if you will. I think this is looking so badly because I only sample on 20 steps maybe. So after this, I'm going to try to do this with 50 sampling steps, and we'll see where that takes us. By the way, the point is really that given that so much of life can be mathematically and statistically modeled, including creativity itself, right? I think it's really an open question for us as the individuals and for societies generally to think about, well, what does it really mean to be human or to play the different roles that we play in society? Could we have an economy that is entirely ran and operated by machines while humans do, more interesting things? That sounds scarily like the Matrix, actually. But I mean, but just look at this. I mean, some of this I could literally use it already, right? And no work required. Maybe let me add a bit of variation, add more sampling steps, and then let's generate again. So the computer is doing all this work, and after all this are generated and you kind of like take what you liked, there's also other things you can do to it. You know, you can expand the image using in-painting. We can add things, remove things by passing in prompts to the computer. I mean, I think the crazy cool thing about computers is really once we can mathematically represent the world, once we can model all sorts of data and representations and vectorize them, it's really just incredible what you can do with all these digital representations. And so obviously some people would be like, I don't want to be a part of this, I'm opting out and all that, which I think is perfectly fine. It's a perfectly legitimate and valid response. And the world is a big enough place and democratic enough that, you know, we should respect different positions and opinions. But I think where I stand on this is really that if you choose to do so, to opt out, right, what are you losing vis-a-vis what you stand to gain? I mean, I think that's a very real question that people have to contend with. And then obviously how this affects capital and labor would be something that politicians, governments, and even we ourselves as workers and individuals need to be very concerned about. So in that sense, I do think that everyone needs to get educated in some ways to make up our own opinions about AI and how it should be applied, basically. Right, because this technology is way too powerful to be left in the hands of the private market. If everything that's going to be built with AI is driven entirely by profit and self-interest, I think that would be the bad or boring apocalypse scenario. Anyway, this is taking quite a while, so I'll shut up and then just wait for it to finish running. I wonder how the other sampling methods would play out on this. Guess we can try that